It started on a rainy Friday evening. I stumbled into the house, drenched, desperate for warmth, or maybe just a familiar face. Instead, the place felt cold in the storm outside. My wife, Clara, was slouched on the couch, her eyes glued to her phone as if it contained her entire universe. She didn't even glance up when I walked in. "I'm home," I said, shaking water from my jacket. "MHM," she murmured, barely lifting her head. After 10 years together, this had become our rhythm, quiet, distant, and hollow. But lately, things had shifted. The late nights that used to be rare had become routine. The secretive smiles at her screen, the way she would suddenly hide her phone whenever I appeared. Something was off, and I could no longer ignore it. I sat across from her, watching the faint glow of her screen illuminate a grin that wasn't meant for me. "What's so funny?" I asked casually. She jerked her head up, her expression flat. "Oh, just a silly meme." I nodded, forcing myself to believe her, but inside I felt a knot tighten. Weeks of small, telling signs, whispered phone calls, overtime excuses, the growing distance had led me here. Clara was hiding something, and I already knew what it was. That night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I lay awake staring at the dark ceiling, realizing how silently our marriage had crumbled. I considered confronting her, demanding answers, but deep down, I knew even the truth wouldn't repair the gap. She had drifted away, and I could no longer reach her. By morning, I had made my choice. If Clara had moved on, I would too, but I wouldn't beg, argue, or plead. I would leave quietly, letting the silence speak for me. The next week, I prepared. A few of my things disappeared into my office at work. Half of our shared savings went into my own account. A friend I barely mentioned to Clara agreed to let me stay until I got on my feet. Every night, I lay beside her, listening to her breathe, and she remained oblivious, lost in her digital world, smelling faintly of someone else, smiling at messages meant for anyone but me. Then came the day I left. I returned home earlier than usual to gather my last things. The house was eerily silent. Our bedroom, filled with photographs, souvenirs, and old love notes, felt like a museum of the life I no longer belonged to. I wrote a note, not for her sake, but for mine. "Clara, I've loved you for 10 years, but I can't pretend anymore. I know about him, and I've known for some time. I try to understand, try to forgive, but I can't stay in a place where I'm not wanted. I hope you find what you're seeking, but I am done." I left it on the counter, grabbed my bags, and walked out without looking back. The following days were a blur. I stayed with my friend, Liam, tried to adjust to the emptiness I had stepped into. I expected her to reach out, even once, but my phone remained silent. A week passed, still nothing. Then, finally, a message appeared. My heart jumped, expecting remorse or concern. Instead, it read, "Hey, did you move your stuff? I can't find my laptop." Nothing more. Not a word of apology, not a trace of worry. I laughed bitterly, handed my phone to Liam. "Unreal," he muttered. I did nothing. I let her realize my absence on her own. Weeks went by. I found my own apartment, buried myself in work, and reconnected with friends I had neglected. For the first time in years, I felt unburdened, free from lies, neglect, and the suffocating feeling of always coming second. Then one evening, there was a knock at my door. Clara stood there, tear-streaked and trembling. "Ethan," she whispered. I didn't realize. I messed up. I don't understand. "What didn't you realize?" I asked coldly. "That you were gone, that you knew, that I ruined everything." I crossed my arms. "And now what? You want a second chance?" "Yes. I'll do anything. Counseling, therapy, please," she pleaded. I exhaled slowly, anger and sadness swirling together. "It's too late. You didn't just betray me. You let me vanish long before I walked away. And now you expect me to return as if nothing happened? I can't." Her sobs followed me as I gently closed the door, leaning against it, swallowing the last of my own tears. Months passed. She tried reaching out again, but I ignored every message. She had her chance and wasted it. In her absence, I discovered something vital. Leaving was the best choice I ever made. Healing took time, but I found myself again. And sometimes moving forward means letting go of the thing you once held most tightly.